behind now, honestly. You see the kind of bollocks we get. They email you, and all the corporate bigwigs start getting pissy. They said, well, you just screwed up the next show. I said, well, there's no one coming to that one, so relax. Because we're all in here, right? Now, are you relaxed? He's on his way, yes? Yes? No chair for you, though. No, you sit over. Here we are. Excellent. Oh, there we are. I want you to sit back, relax, okay, and enjoy your lunch, okay? And I'd like to find the designer who got paid a fortune to stick lettuce in the wall. Okay? And pretend with little flowers for now, right? There we are. If the courses are slow, have a nibble, okay? Holy mackerel. What's going on there? We're going to design a set for you. We're going to ram the wall with lettuces. Oh my God. Right. Mac and cheese is definitely off the menu, okay? Season 4, so you'll probably get that in 2020. Why does it take so long when it can be beamed over here live? Why is that? Oh. Right. The restaurant scene here is extraordinary. Only you guys would call. Is this Mr. Portugal? Come on, dude, let's go. Come on, let's go. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you, bud. Everybody in this room knows who the hell you are now.
I've been watching you on TV for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think we're family already.
Well, we are. Here's the thing. Next time your dear lady says, sweetheart, I want to buy some VVIP tickets to see some jumped up chef from the UK, sit with the normal people and come and watch. Man, are you wearing a wig?
No,
I'm really jealous because it looks like sort of John Bon Jovi from Portugal. I'm from Scotland, from the waist down.
No, thanks.
Excellent. Portuguese?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Lisbon?
No, Lisbon's amazing. Amazing. Are you ready for some lunch? 7-hour car journey. Come on, it's crazy.
What are you going to cook?
Well, Jesus.
Portuguese?
Hold on a minute. It's free.
I'm still choosing.
Are you sorry? Do you want me to kick you out? I'm joking. I want you to sit down, relax with your lady, and enjoy an amazing lunch. God bless you. Please, Owen, look after it. Excellent. 11:30. Thank you so much for coming. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a safe trip back. Enjoy. Excellent. That was amazing. Come on. We're going to get into such trouble. Right, Owen, we're going to speed up. Okay, salt and pepper squid with the most amazing, you call them like a spiny lobster. We call them crayfish. No, but yes, they're all over the place, honestly. It's like wrapping me up like my wife does in the bedroom. Come on. So these things are absolutely incredible. The secret behind this thing is to blanch it first. Blanch it literally in pork bouillon. That's flavoured water with white wine vinegar, vegetables, aromatics, a little bit of smoked paprika in there. If you blanch it first, literally when you come to saute it, it is absolutely tender as anything. Cooking it from raw, it goes rubbery. We're all obsessed with lobsters, shrimp and spot prawns, but blanch them for 2 minutes first. The difference is night and day. So, into the pork bouillon, she goes. Straight down. Now, the salt and pepper squid, incredible. We marinated them last night in milk. Opened them up, sliced them very, very thinly, and scored them as well. Milk breaks down the enzymes, it sort of almost tenderizes it. It's like butter. The difference, again, is night and day. I'll come back to that in a minute. We're going to serve like a delicious citrus sort of vinaigrette. So, nothing overpowering, quite sort of fruity, incredibly flavoursome, but very vibrant, and you've got the sweetness from that amazing crayfish and that sort of nice creamy texture from the squid, especially the way we cook it. I'm going to start off first with the rub, okay, and it's a dry rub, and it's a delicious sort of, really sort of almost like a new twist. We use it on all our steaks in Vegas. It's a ground coffee rub. And it gives the steak the most amazing flavour. It's extraordinary. A couple of tablespoons of granulated coffee. a little teaspoon of smoked paprika, cayenne pepper, fresh black pepper, and then this little baby here. You produce this. This is an amazing smoked rock salt. Fragrant, delicious, and it's done into flakes, so we use less of it. I'd rather use a high quality salt, less of it, than normal salt that you need to use a lot of it to get some form of flavour in there. In goes the smoked salt, 2/3. Give that a little mix up, and then I'm just going to lightly sweeten that with a little pinch of sugar. Now, that helps to sort of almost balance the heat between the smoked paprika and the cayenne, but it gives that sort of creaminess to the coffee, and it doesn't become bitter. Onto the plate. Every time we cook steak, the secret for me is to make sure you take it out of the fridge, literally 15-20 minutes before you use it, and let it rest. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Let it rest before you cook it. Let it rest and basically get it up to room temperature. The reason being, if you cook a steak and it is stone cold in the center, you've got to overcook it on the outside to get it cooked on the inside. So, like fish, take it out, let it rest, literally 15 to 20 minutes, and then cook it from room temperature. It cooks so much quicker, but the flavor is incredible. Now, the rub goes onto the steak. It's going to sit there. I'm going to show you the tarte tatin. We started one as you guys were arriving. This is a straightforward, delicious, really simple dessert, but very, very impressive. About 55 to 60 grams of butter, unsalted. Push it down into the bottom of the pan. This is an amazing sort of, almost like get out of jail card dessert that can be done literally in like 15 minutes. We're using apples and pears, okay? They've been peeled. You can probably see from there that they've oxidized, they've gone brown. Butter into the pan, sugar on top, literally a couple of tablespoons of sugar. I want to make it really nice and fragrant. I've got some nice pink peppercorns. Sounds slightly weird, but wait till you taste the caramel. Pink peppercorns, star anise, push them down into the butter, and then take these. These are Madagascan fresh vanilla pods. Absolutely incredible. Fragrance, amazing, but when you flavour that caramel and you've got the vanilla, you've got the star anise, the pink peppercorns, just open them up and lay them down there. Now, from there, okay, butter, star anise, pink peppercorns, sugar and vanilla. Take your apples and pears and literally stick them in, okay, to the butter, side on, and literally wedge them in. Go alternate. Use the round part of the pear, the sort of bottom part of the pear, to the outside of the pan, so the points come to meet into the center. Push them into the butter, okay? From there, jam the pears and apples together, and alternate. Apple, pear, apple, pear. Now, once you go all the way round, I want you to fill in the middle. The pears and the apples have oxidized and gone a little bit brown. I wanted that to happen on purpose. The reason being, as they sit and they sort of dehydrate, the water comes out. So therefore, when we start to caramelize them, the whole thing becomes much better, more robust, but the secret is in the caramel. If we just peel the pears now and go straight in there, it'll get watery. You'll never get that caramel really nice and strong. So, in with your pears and apples. Again, you don't have to be too fancy by the way you sort of trim them. I hate waste, so just get them in there, chop and tail them, but make sure you fill in that gap in the middle. Here we're using about 3 pears and 3 apples. Literally, push them in there. So they're jammed and tight, okay? From there, we use some puff pastry. This is just a very simple puff pastry. Even trimmings, short crust, phenomenal. Use your fingers and get it nice and thin on the outside. From there, take the back of the spoon, okay, lift up and tuck it underneath. Lift up and tuck it underneath. And just manipulate the pastry. So you stretch the pastry over the apples and the pears. Up, spoon, lift up and tuck underneath. As it starts to caramelize, you'll have that hold on the apples and the pears. So when you turn it out, it's almost like this wonderful glove. From there, under, up and under. Now, Once that's done, last little piece there, again, push it down. A little hole in the center. That lets the air come out so the pastry doesn't go soggy. Where's that one there? Boom. I can't. Jeez. Brilliant, thank you. Onto the gas. Okay, now I want to show you. We've got one working now because it takes literally 22 minutes in the oven. But I want to show you how you can get it really nice and caramelized. Now, steak is underway. The garnish is going to be some soaked potatoes from yesterday's boiled potatoes. We're going to soak them with some mushrooms and some cream spinach. And spinach is going to be done with a little bit of grated nutmeg. We have to sort of almost slightly manipulate our children, 3 girls and a boy, because they eat with their eyes. Anything green, oh, I'm allergic, Dad. No, you're not, mate. If you don't eat that spinach or you don't eat those carrots, your manhood's not going to grow. So I sort of blackmail them. The spinach is about the boobies, and that really works, especially with 3 daughters, 15, 13, and 11. So they eat with their eyes. So making things a little bit more sort of fragrant, a little bit more exciting, herbs, slightly spiced, a little bit of chili, a little bit of sweetness in there as well. So you can sort of make things a little bit more magical for them. Carrots, glaze them with a touch of honey, star anise. Potatoes, finish them with fresh parsley. Just stuff to sort of get them into the habit of eating that balance and making sure they've got that starch with the protein. Absolutely fundamental. Now, the dressing for my squid, this is delicious. A tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, 3-4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. From there, a little touch of salt, a little touch of sugar. Again, finding that balance, salt and sugar in. A little touch of the chili flakes, and then a zest of our lime and lemon. I want this thing to be sort of fragrant. I want it to sit on the plate and look like a nice sort of sheet of marble. Fragrance from the lemon and the lime. Squeeze in that fresh juice as well. Incredible. Now, from there, I've got some oranges, lemons, and lime segments. Some beautiful pink grapefruit, fresh spring onions, a little touch of chopped chili, some fresh mint, some parsley, and then I'm going to put some nice big leaves of mint in there as well. Because of the acidity in the vinaigrette, it sort of breaks down the mint. It's got this nice sort of freshness to it, with a big wow factor. Now, give that a little mix, and this is where you've got to find the balance right in terms of taste. Making sure that you've got it absolutely spot on between the sweet, salty, and the slightly spicy. Just more sugar, and I want that to sort of just sit there and relax, okay? That is going to sit underneath the squid. When we come to prep the squid, so far so good? Yeah? Has to be better than sitting in that car. How can you do that to your man? Huh? 34 years. That's incredible. Congratulations. Ah, that's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. 34 years. Ladies, so far so good? Is it as good as Mum's cooking? Is Mum here? Your Mum's here. So just say it's on par with your Mum's cooking because you're going to get told off in 15 minutes. Okay? Good. Now, the squid. Into a bowl. Okay? Tentacles as well. Lightly seasoned. Again, touch of salt. Okay? A little touch of sugar. A little touch of chili flakes. And then I'm going to lightly dust them. Okay? With some cornstarch. If you haven't got cornstarch, flour is just as good. That gets it really nice and crispy. From there, we have to mix that up, okay? Lightly with the corn flour. You don't want them sort of too heavy, sedated in the corn flour. It gets thick and sort of greasy. Then, give that a little shake off the excess. Now, the secret of cutting this into small strips is it cooks so quickly. And that's where you start to really appreciate the difference. Like I said, we marinated it last night, it becomes so tender. Tartatan is working now. I'm just going to tilt there for the camera. You can see how that's starting to sort of colour. The smell is incredible. pink peppercorns, the star anise, and the fresh herb. It may look done to you, but it's not. I need to go a little bit darker. Now, for my squid, lightly grease the pan with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Get that really nice and hot. As it starts to smoke, squid in, okay? Now, literally, we're not deep frying it. That's not good for anybody. In, and you'll see how it crisps up instantly. And more importantly, the thing cooks, literally, in 90 seconds. Now, from there, okay, roll it around. The crayfish tail has been shelled, and we slice it into these nice little nuggets. Absolutely incredible. They've been blanched, so it's still quite warm. So much easier to take them out of the shell when it's warm. Out the cork too long, let it rest for a couple of minutes, and then the tail just pops out. Same with the prawns. Absolutely imperative. Nice and crispy. And that's why when I see sort of squid deep fried, lots of oil, not good. Now, literally 90 seconds in the pan. You'll see how nice and crispy that is getting. From there, take that out, just let it sit for 30 seconds. You can hear how crispy it is. Back in with the olive oil, and this time, we're going to cook the crayfish. Again, a little touch of salt, a touch of sugar, and just a little fleck of chili. Tilt the pan, and put these nice little nuggets in. Now, literally 30 seconds in, and that's it. They get so tender because we've lightly blanched them. The caramel, you can see next to the crayfish, that's the colour I want. A nice dark, beautiful golden colour. Owen, that's ready now, bud. We'll put that in the oven. Delicious. Lobster, turn them over. Nothing's buckling and nothing's getting out of sort of control. That lobster literally takes on a wonderful colour because it's pre-blanched. The flavour and the difference is incredible. Night and day. Now, keep that pan on there. I'll use that for the potatoes, Owen. Squid, lobster, a little bit of salad. When we come to dress this, for me, it's got to look natural. It's got to sort of, got to be appealing. It's got to have that vibrancy. Vinaigrette has worked beautifully. It smells incredible. The mint just lifts it, the vinegar, the zest, a little bit of coriander, and the chili have all blended in. But the sugar has taken the heat out of the chili. Just tilt the bowl so you get all that wonderful flavour and that vibrancy on there. Literally, lift it up. I want 2/3 of the ingredients from the vinaigrette onto the plate, and then I'll go around with that juice from the bottom. But the fruit has sort of broken down, and they've sort of got nice and mellow, but really spicy, very citrusy, and it absolutely smells delicious. Now go around with the juice around the outside. After that, take the squid and literally just dot this delicious, crispy, salt and pepper squid around the outside. And then in the middle, sort of bolster that up with that wonderful crayfish. And then, these little babies here are the sort of latest range here in Cape Town, these wonderful little micro herbs. And then just let that almost sprinkle on top. And there's our first starter, delicious salt pepper squid with a wonderful crayfish. Thank you very much. Nice. Delicious. All good? So far so good, ladies? Nice. Right. Tatan's in the oven. Steak, I said to you about putting that rub on there. Why? For me, it is a delicious way of sort of almost enhancing the flavour of the meat. This can be done on the barbecue as well. Absolutely phenomenal. So have the confidence to sort of use that rub even 24 hours before. The longer you put that dry rub on there, the better. Okay? A couple of tablespoons of olive oil in. As that starts to smoke, literally in with that ribeye. Now, I'm not using butter, okay? I'm going to start off in olive oil, and then I'm going to finish in butter. If I start off in butter, the butter burns before I get any colour on my steak. Literally, get that absolutely seared, almost like a sort of a nice dark caramel on that ribeye. It's a very robust piece of meat, lots of fibres of fat, so it can take that kind of sear. I wouldn't sear a fillet like this, because there's hardly any fat in there, so it'll go dry. But the ribeye, no problem whatsoever. Literally, you see the sort of smoked paprika, the coffee starts to caramelise, a nice spoon of butter in there. As the butter starts frothing, okay, I'm then just going to literally baste my steak over. Now, the secret behind this, for me, is to make sure you let it rest, okay? Really important. I'd rather you cut back on the temperature of your steak and let your meat rest. The juiciness and the quality is night and day. The difference is extraordinary. Now, once the butter's on, roll it around, give it a little baste, and literally pop that into the oven. The oven's on 400, and be generous with the colour, because the flavour of that coffee, that's always darker, you're just caramelising the actual coffee. Into the oven for, I would say, 6 to 7 minutes. Now, once that comes out, I'm not going to cut it, I'm not going to slice it, I'm going to literally let it sit there and rest. I'd rather, like I say, just come up with a more slightly hot but not piping hot, and the flavour is absolutely night and day. Now, the chimichurri, we're going to do a really delicious, quick chimichurri sauce. We're going to have a little bowl, please, right? Like a little silver bowl, please, thank you. Garnish for the steak, we've got the potatoes, mushrooms, and a little bit of the cream spinach. Potatoes in. Okay, these are raw potatoes, literally cut in half, taken out, again room temperature, into the pan, a touch of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and we'll finish with a little bit of garlic and a little bit of chili, literally 2 minutes before they come out. Thank you. Now, chimichurri, which we're going to use for going over the steak. A tablespoon of chopped onions, a nice tablespoon of garlic. Okay, we've got a sort of green jalapeno, sort of almost like a sort of nice, dainty, sort of heated pickle. A little touch of chili flake, and then lots of chopped parsley. Now, I want to just bring that together with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. When it goes on the plate, I don't want it drizzling with lots of olive oil. Too heavy, too sedated, and too rich. From there, a nice squeeze of fresh lime in. That gives it that kind of freshness and really perks up the steak. Now, it's almost like a sort of perfect steak sauce, and it's a great sauce for chicken, especially coming off the barbecue as well, chimichurri. In salt, pepper, and a little touch of sugar at the end. Now, leave that to sit, and I want that sort of drizzling on the steak the minute we slice it. Potatoes, the minute we've got colour on them, I'm going to put my mushrooms in there. Everyone's always sort of almost over the top with mushrooms in one pan, potatoes in another pan. Sauteing mushrooms and potatoes in the same pan, there is nothing wrong with it. The flavour combined is extraordinary. Provided the pan's nice and hot, the water comes out of the mushrooms, potatoes get coloured, and you've got it done in one pan. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Time to time, okay? Has this come out? Nice. Lovely. Right, steak. I am so late. You know that. We are in such trouble. However, now, turn that over. Literally 1 more minute, and I'm going to leave it to rest. Mushrooms. Oh, you put the spinach on as well, please. A little bit of cream in there. From there, your garlic in now. Well, I started with the garlic to begin with. It would have burnt. Okay? Garlic, onions, and now I go with my butter. Okay? Got the heat in the pan. All the water's come out of the mushrooms. Now the flavour of that garlic and the onions with the mushrooms is incredible. A little touch of my chilies, and then my spring onions, and literally let that sit and just saute away. The smell is incredible. The spring onions give it that kind of lift. Really nice indeed. Nice. So spinach, a couple of tablespoons of cream, let it down with a little touch of water, bring it onto the boil, season it with some salt and pepper, a little touch of grated nutmeg in there, As the cream starts to reduce, then we'll fold in our spinach. Nutmeg in, okay? And again, if you don't want to use cream, creme fraiche is absolutely fine. But bring that down, let it reduce. My steak, I'm going to take out of the oven, but I am not going to cut it for at least a couple of minutes and let it rest. Now, leave that to sit there. Amazing juices. And the smell of that coffee is incredible. Amazing. Nice. Right, mushrooms, potatoes, doing nicely. That's exactly where I want to get the spinach. Cream reduced down, almost like a sort of thick sauce. And then with the spinach, don't squeeze it out. As you squeeze out the flavour, just slightly drain it and put that over the cream. The nutmeg really makes it sort of tasty and delicious. But it's just a lovely way of eating spinach creamed, but the cream not too dense and rich and cloyed. So literally just bring it together. Fine. Nice. Now, potatoes, mushrooms, ready to go. And literally before they come out, some fresh chives in there. So you've got that lovely flavour. Even the next day as a sort of salad, on a nice slice of sourdough toast, the mushrooms, a little bit of bacon in there, potatoes, it's a dish on its own. Lovely. Now, is that my main course, mate? Excellent, thank you. When we come to dress, again, I sort of slice the steak and just put it in the middle of the table and let them help themselves. The smell of those mushrooms and the potatoes is incredible. It's a sort of a nice way of just bringing it together, but in many ways, simplifying those dinner parties. I don't know why. Everyone thinks you've got to have 3 separate pans to cook the potatoes, the shallots, the garlic, and the mushrooms. Together, they work brilliantly, and the flavour is incredible. Now, my spinach, we haven't got a sort of rich sauce with veal jus or chicken. It's just a really nice, light, creamy spinach that is finished with nutmeg, and so it's incredibly healthy and very, very good for you. Spinach on. And then when it comes to slicing that steak, never go against the grain, go with the grain. There's the bone. I'm just going to slice down towards me. Now, I want that sort of pinkness, but I want it juicy. If you notice, the longer you leave it, the more sort of plumper the actual steak is. And I haven't actually lost anything in terms of how it stays the same size before you literally started cooking it, because you let it rest. And then from there, this nice, sort of slightly spicy chimichurri that I'm just going to sit and drizzle over. But I don't want it soaking wet with olive oil, I want it glistening, and the sort of olive oil just brings it together. And there we have a delicious roasted ribeye with a nice, delicious, dry coffee rub with a chimichurri sauce. Thank you very much. Nice. Lovely. Wonderful. Now, the tartare. It's something that is so simple to do, so easy, and so straightforward, but for me, it's a bit of a showstopper. This can be left in the pan overnight. When you come to reheat it, literally take it out onto the gas and it will release the caramel. Give it a little shake as it starts to roll round. You can see that it's sort of removing itself from the bottom of the pan. Take your plate. We'll do this in private in case it doesn't work. Excuse me, 2 minutes. I didn't get 3 Michelin stars, nothing. Excuse me, can you, French Connection UK? I have to watch my language in front of the girls. Oh Jesus, my 3 daughters now fine me every time I say a naughty word. £5 an F word, can you believe that? I'm skint. Absolutely skint. Give that a little shake. Turn around please. I'll stick that lobster in your pocket. And then turn it over. Plate on, and lift that off. Now, hey. Come on! And lift that off. Beautiful. Really nice. Now, absolutely beautiful. Then from there, I mean, you can use ice cream, custard. We've got a really nice 3/4 whipped cream, a local cream, and it's finished with lemon zest, lime zest, orange zest. Hot spoon, and just put that in, and just put out that on top, and sit that there. Boom. And there we have a delicious caramelized tarte-tatin. For our desserts, Owen, can you ask Joe for one more book, please? One more book, please. One more book. Shall I say it in Afrikaans? Holy mackerel. You be drinking. Oh, Jesus, man, it's getting paid to be here. Ladies, that's the condition that there's no boys for 10 years. You eat your vegetables, you stay away from boys, and make sure you do not give that book away. There's one more coming, by the way. You, I've got a nice tin of sardines to make you feel less homesick. I'm so sorry for being late. I'm in such deep water. You make me feel absolutely at home every time I come here. That's why I love coming back. I'm actually thinking of moving here. God help you. Thank you. Have a great day. I know I've got a book signing with the VVIPs after, which I've just phoned in sick. Bullshit. Now, thank you so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day and have a great weekend. God bless. Thank you so much.